Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Across the cracked pavement, sunlight fractured, dappling against a shimmer of red on the building's worn walls. The dress, a vivid contrast to the urban decay, had a secret admirer, an ornate, full-length mirror. A flicker of uncertainty defied the face staring back, a stranger emerging, feeling more genuine than ever. "Do I look okay?" A hesitant voice broke the silence, echoing within the vastness of the room. The attire, an assortment of crimson satin and sequins, meticulously hugged the body, accentuating unseen curves. In the heart of this city, amidst the rustle of anticipation, an invitation to a clandestine gathering had been extended, bearing an enigmatic request: "Come as you aren't." This night, a transformation spurred by daring camaraderie was about to unfold.
Holy, you actually did it.
He adjusted his vampire cape, exposing plastic fangs.
You know I was joking, right?
"Go big or go home," Colin shrugged, his heart hammering.
Besides, no one will recognize me anyway.
The Uber ride to Jessica's apartment was silent, with Trevor stealing glances at Colin's transformed appearance. The brown-haired man had taken the costume seriously, makeup carefully applied with YouTube tutorials, padding in strategic places, and his natural brown hair styled into soft waves that brushed his shoulders.
You look...
Trevor began, then shook his head.
Actually, never mind.
Music pulsed from Jessica's apartment, vibrating through the hallway as they approached. Colin hesitated at the door, suddenly aware of the vulnerability of his bare shoulders in the strapless dress.
I can't do this,
he whispered. Trevor clapped him on the back.
Come on, it's Halloween. Everyone's someone else tonight.
Inside, the apartment had transformed into a sea of costumes. Superheroes mingled with monsters. Historical figures danced with fictional characters. Colin kept to the edges of the room, nursing a drink, hyper-aware of the fabric against his skin, the unfamiliar weight of mascara on his lashes. An hour in, Jessica spotted him. She crossed the room in her cat costume, black leggings, and a painted nose, yellow contacts catching the light. "I don't think we've met," she said, extending a hand. "I'm Jessica. This is my place." Colin's voice caught. Should he keep up the charade or confess?
It's me. Colin, from accounting.
Her eyes widened, taking in the dress, the makeup, the heels. "Colin!" "No way." She circled him, inspecting the transformation. "You're prettier than me?" she exclaimed with a laugh, adjusting her cat ears. The comment landed like a stone in still water, ripples of emotion spreading outward. Colin forced a smile, clinked glasses with her, and laughed it off. But the words echoed. "You're prettier than me." As the night progressed, something shifted. The initial discomfort of the heels gave way to a strange confidence. People he'd worked with for years failed to recognize him. Women included him in conversations usually closed to him. Men looked at him differently. By midnight, when Trevor was ready to leave, Colin was dancing, the red dress catching light with every movement. "You coming?" Trevor asked, eyebrows raised. "Just a bit longer," Colin replied, surprising himself. It was nearly 3 when he finally left, carrying the heels in one hand, makeup smudged but still in place. The night air felt different on his skin, as if even it recognized something had changed. Back home, removing the dress felt like shedding something precious. Each swipe of the makeup remover erased a piece of the person he'd been for the night. Staring at his bare face in the bathroom mirror, Colin searched for the remnants of the woman who had danced until her feet hurt, who had laughed with abandon, who had, for a few hours, inhabited his body differently.
You're prettier than me.
The words followed him to bed, nestled beside him like a secret. Monday morning arrived with its usual demands. The gray suit felt boxy, constricting after the freedom of the dress. The office fluorescence harsh after the soft glow of party lights. Jessica nodded to him in the break room. "Great costume, by the way," she said, stirring creamer into her coffee.
I almost didn't recognize you. Thanks,
Colin replied, feeling heat rise to his cheeks.
It was just a joke, you know. Well, you pulled it off better than most women I know.
She winked and walked away, leaving him standing there, coffee forgotten. That evening, alone in his apartment while Trevor was out with his girlfriend, Colin opened his laptop. The search terms felt forbidden. Men in dresses, crossdressing, how to walk in heels. Hours later, browser history cleared. A package was ordered to arrive in 2 days. Plain brown box, discreet labeling. When it arrived, he waited until after midnight to open it. Inside, a simple black dress. Nothing flashy like the red sequins. Just a basic cotton blend that the website promised was forgiving for those without feminine figures. Beneath it, a padded bra, panties designed to smooth and tuck, and low nude pumps. With trembling hands, Colin laid the items on his bed. This wasn't a costume party. This wasn't a joke. This was something else entirely. The dress fit surprisingly well. The underwear required some adjustment, but the result in the mirror was convincing. Not as polished as Halloween night with all the makeup and professional styling, but undeniably feminine. He practiced walking in the pumps, lower than the stilettos, but still unfamiliar. 1 lap around the bedroom, 2. By the 3rd, his stride had found a rhythm. A text alert broke the spell. Trevor.
Coming home early. Pizza?
Colin changed in record time, heart pounding as he stuffed the clothes into the back of his closet behind winter coats and forgotten gym bags. By the time Trevor's key turned in the lock, Colin was in sweatpants and a t-shirt, pretending to watch a basketball game he hadn't been following.
Pepperoni okay?
Trevor asked, dropping his keys on the counter.
Perfect,
Colin replied, voice slightly higher than normal. The next few weeks developed a pattern. Days spent in the suffocating normalcy of button-downs and slacks. Nights alone transformed into private explorations. Another package arrived, a floral sundress with a sweetheart neckline. Then a pencil skirt and silk blouse. Each item carefully selected, worn in the safety of locked doors, then hidden away. Colin created accounts under a new name. Remy. Online forums became a lifeline, filled with others who understood the pull of fabric and identity. Through their guidance, he learned to contour his face, to create the illusion of curves, to move with a different cadence. In these moments, alone in female clothing, something settled in his chest, a rightness he couldn't articulate but couldn't deny. The first time Trevor nearly caught him was a Tuesday. Colin, dressed in the floral sundress, freshly applied lipstick gleaming, heard the apartment door open hours before his roommate was expected home. "Yo, Colin!" Trevor called out. Panic surged. The bathroom was too far. No time to change. Colin pressed himself against the wall beside his bedroom door, willing himself invisible. "Must be out," Trevor muttered, footsteps retreating to his own room. After 10 excruciating minutes, Trevor left again, door slamming behind him. Colin's legs gave out, and he slid to the floor, dress pooling around him, heart racing like a trapped animal's. That night, sleep eluded him. The close call had illuminated something vital. These stolen moments weren't enough. The person in the dress wasn't a costume or a character. It was him. Or rather, her. The realization didn't crash like a wave, but settled like snow, accumulating gradually until the landscape of his understanding was transformed. "Remy," she whispered to the darkness, testing the name on her tongue. It felt right. The following Saturday, Colin called in sick to the gathering Trevor had organized. Instead, she, now thinking of herself as Remy when in feminine attire, ventured out for the first time. Not to a bar or club where darkness could hide imperfections, but to a mall an hour away where anonymity was guaranteed. The brown wig was a last-minute purchase, slightly darker than her natural hair, but long enough to brush past her shoulders. With carefully applied makeup, the floral sundress, and low heels, Remy stepped into the sunlight. Each step away from the car was terrifying and exhilarating. A couple passed, the woman offering a small smile. A group of teenagers, too engrossed in their phones to notice her. No one pointed. No one laughed. No one seemed to see anything but a woman in a pretty dress. Inside the department store, Remy's courage wavered. The women's section suddenly seemed vast and overwhelming. A sales associate approached, mid-50s, kind eyes, name tag reading, Patricia. "Can I help you find something, dear?" she asked. Remy swallowed hard. "I'm just browsing." "Well, that royal blue would look lovely with your coloring." Patricia gestured to a silky top on a nearby rack. "Let me know if you need a fitting room." Simple, normal, as if Remy belonged here. 2 hours later, she left with shopping bags containing clothes purchased in her size, women's size, not awkwardly modified men's clothes. A coral blouse, a black A-line skirt, a cardigan in soft cashmere. Driving home, makeup still perfect, wig secure, bags of feminine clothing beside her, Remy felt a dam break within her chest. Tears came, blurring the road, forcing her to pull over on the shoulder. They weren't tears of sadness, but of recognition, of seeing herself clearly for perhaps the first time. That evening, after carefully hanging her new purchases in the back of the closet, Colin sat down at his computer. The search terms were different now. Gender dysphoria, transgender resources, how to come out. Weeks passed. Remy's existence expanded beyond bedroom walls. Short trips to grocery stores 2 towns over. A movie watched alone in a theater where no one knew her. Coffee sipped at a corner table in a cafe far from home. Meanwhile, Colin began to fade. The suits hung untouched when possible. The men's haircut grown out just enough to be noticeable. Small changes. Clear nail polish that could be explained away. Moisturizer that left his skin softer. A more feminine watch. Jessica noticed first. "New skincare routine?" she asked one morning, peering at him across their shared workspace. "Your skin looks amazing." Colin touched his cheek reflexively. "Just trying to take better care of myself." "Well, it's working," she smiled, turning back to her computer. Each affirmation of his changing appearance was both terrifying and validating. The male facade was slipping, and part of him wanted it to. Wanted to be seen. The breaking point came unexpectedly. A client dinner, mandatory attendance. Colin arrived in his least masculine suit, hair pushed behind his ears, subtle, clear gloss on his lips. 3 hours of performance, of deepening his voice, of suppressing the mannerisms that now felt natural. In the restaurant bathroom, staring at his reflection under harsh lights, something crumbled. This wasn't sustainable. This half-existence, this division of self. At home, he made a decision. The wig had to go, not because Remy was going away, but because she needed to be real. More than a character created in private, more than a secret identity. The first appointment was with a therapist specializing in gender identity. Dr. Helen Winters listened without judgment as Colin explained the costume party, the comment that cracked open the door, the exploration that followed. "What you're describing is not uncommon," she said gently. Many transgender individuals recall a specific moment that allowed them to recognize feelings they'd suppressed or couldn't name. Transgender. The word hung in the air, both frightening and freeing. "Is that what I am?" Colin asked, voice small. "That's something only you can determine," Dr. Winters replied. "But I can help you explore that question." And so began the journey in earnest. Weekly therapy sessions, research into medical options, careful consideration of the social, professional, and personal implications of transition. 3 months after the Halloween party, Colin began hormone therapy. Subtle changes followed: softer skin, redistribution of fat, emotional landscapes shifting like sand. His natural brown hair grew, no longer needing the wig that had been a temporary solution. The conversation with Trevor happened over beer, halting words giving way to tears and eventually understanding. "So, you're saying you're a woman?" Trevor asked, brow furrowed with the effort to comprehend. "I'm saying I've always been one. Inside." Colin, now privately thinking of herself exclusively as Remy, explained. "I just didn't have the words for it." Trevor was silent for a long moment. "Does this mean you'll be wearing dresses around the apartment? Because I gotta say, you looked pretty good at that Halloween party." The joke, awkward but well-intentioned, broke the tension. They laughed, and in that laughter was acceptance. Coming out at work was more structured. A meeting with HR, paperwork for a name change, discussions about bathroom usage and potential client reactions, and then, finally, the email to the entire office. "Dear colleagues, some of you may have noticed changes in my appearance over the past few months. I want to share with you that I am transgender and am transitioning from male to female. Moving forward, I will be using the name Remy Collins and feminine pronouns, she, her. I appreciate your understanding and support during this time. Best regards, Remy Collins, formerly Colin Reynolds." The responses varied. Some colleagues were immediately supportive, stopping by her desk with words of encouragement. Others were awkwardly silent, avoiding eye contact in the break room. A few asked inappropriate questions about surgeries and genitalia, quickly shut down by HR. Jessica's response came in the form of a small gift bag placed on Remy's desk one morning. Inside was a tube of expensive red lipstick with a note. "I meant what I said at the party. You really are prettier than me. Welcome, Remy." The first day Remy came to work fully presenting as female was a Tuesday. She chose the coral blouse from her first shopping trip, paired with the black A-line skirt and modest heels. Her brown hair, now grown to chin length, was styled simply. Makeup applied with practiced hands, enough to enhance, not mask. The elevator ride to the 5th floor felt eternal. Each ping announcing another floor passed sent her heart rate higher. When the doors opened to her office, Remy took a deep breath and stepped forward into her truth. Conversations paused briefly as she walked to her desk. A few stares lingered too long, but then, like water finding its level, the office rhythm resumed. Work continued. The world didn't end because Remy Collins wore a blouse instead of a button-down. Months passed. Hormone therapy continued to work its gradual magic. Remy's wardrobe expanded, no longer hidden in the back of a closet, but proudly displayed on racks and in drawers. The sundresses multiplied with the approach of summer. Pencil skirts became a workweek staple. Silk blouses in jewel tones complemented her coloring. There were hard days, of course. The uncle who refused to use her new name at family gatherings. The client who requested someone else to handle their account. The cat calls when she walked alone at night, simultaneously validating her appearance and terrifying in their aggression. But there were beautiful days, too. The first time her mother called her daughter without hesitation. The women from accounting inviting her to their monthly book club. The date with a man who knew her history and didn't care, who saw her simply as Remy. A year after the Halloween party, Jessica organized another costume event. The invitation sat on Remy's desk for days before she decided to attend. What does one wear to a costume party when your everyday existence had once been the costume? In the end, she chose a stunning emerald gown, reminiscent of old Hollywood glamour. Her brown hair, now touching her shoulders, was styled in soft waves. Her makeup was flawless, applied with the skill of daily practice. Walking into the party felt like closing a circle. The same apartment, many of the same people, but everything had changed. Jessica, dressed as a flapper, squealed when she saw Remy. "You came!" She pulled her into a hug. "And you look incredible! That dress!" "Thank you," Remy smiled, confidence in her voice that hadn't been there a year ago. It felt right. As the night progressed, Remy found herself by the same window where she had stood a year earlier, nursing a drink, watching the room. Trevor, still friends and now supportive roommate, approached in his cowboy costume.
"Penny for your thoughts?"
he asked, tipping his hat. "Just thinking about last year," Remy replied. "How different everything was. Do you ever miss it? Being Colin, I mean." She considered the question seriously. "I miss the simplicity sometimes. The not having to explain or justify or fight. But Colin was the costume. This..." She gestured to herself, the dress, the person she had become. "This is real." Trevor nodded, understanding in his eyes.
"Well, for what it's worth, you seem happier. More, I don't know, complete?"
"I am," Remy agreed. And it was true. The journey wasn't over. There would be more challenges, more growth, more discoveries. But standing there in the emerald dress, recognized and seen for who she truly was, Remy felt a peace that had eluded Colin for so long. Jessica joined them, bringing a tall man in a doctor's costume. "Remy, have you met Daniel? He's new in marketing." Daniel extended a hand, eyes appreciative but respectful.
"Nice to meet you, Remy. That's a beautiful dress."
"Thank you," she replied, accepting his handshake. "It's one of my favorites." As Jessica pulled Trevor away to help with something in the kitchen, Daniel and Remy fell into easy conversation. He was witty, charming, and looked at her with genuine interest.
"So, how do you know Jessica?"
he asked. "We work together," Remy explained. "I was at this same party last year, actually." "Oh? What was your costume then?" The question hung in the air. A year ago, it would have filled her with panic. Now, it was simply part of her story. "Last year, I came as someone else," she said finally. "Someone I thought I was supposed to be." Daniel's eyes reflected curiosity, not judgment.
"And this year?"
Remy smiled, confidence settling around her shoulders like a familiar shawl. "This year, I came as myself." As the night continued, Remy danced, laughed, and existed fully in the space she had once navigated with such fear. The red sequined dress that had started everything was long gone, donated like much of Colin's wardrobe. But its impact remained, a catalyst that had revealed rather than transformed. Later, as Daniel walked her to her door, he hesitated.
"I'd like to see you again,"
he said.
"Maybe dinner next week?"
Remy felt the familiar flutter of attraction, of possibility. "I'd like that." His smile was warm.
"Great. I should tell you, though."
He gestured to his doctor costume.
"This isn't just a costume.
I'm actually a doctor. Pediatric surgeon."
"Well, I should tell you,"
Remy replied, a small smile playing on her lips. "This isn't a costume either. Just me." He nodded, understanding her meaning.
"Good. Because it's you I'd like to know better."
After he left, Remy entered her apartment, her own place now, a fresh start after moving out from Trevor's. The emerald dress caught the light as she moved, reminding her of the red sequins that had started everything. She thought of Jessica's comment that night. "You're prettier than me." Words spoken in jest, without knowledge of their impact. Words that had cracked open a door Remy had been afraid to approach. Words that had allowed her to see herself clearly for the first time. In the bathroom, removing her makeup with practiced motions, Remy studied her reflection. The face looking back at her was finally, wholly her own. The journey hadn't been easy, and it wasn't over. There would be more challenges, more growth, more of life to navigate as her authentic self. But standing there, barefoot in the emerald dress, brown hair tucked behind her ears, Remy recognized the woman she had always been. Not a costume, not a character, but her truest self, finally free to exist in the light.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!